Good evening. Welcome to Primetime News on TV1. We're coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Peruni Karunaratna. Here are tonight's top stories. Debate on the second reading of the budget begins. SJB MP Harsha De Silva opens debate, stating the government stabilized the macro economy. Minister Nalinda Jayatissa says government's foreign reserves to reach $7 billion soon. Minister of Community Empowerment reveals 20 billion rupee loss from Samurdhi fund loan during COVID-19. 6 suspects arrested in Sinigama with heroin and 10 million rupees in cash. Vehicle used by suspects in Kotahena fatal shooting recovered. Police say gang war led to brutal murder. 3 vehicles belonging to Sampath Manamperi seized by police. China's aircraft carrier enters service, challenging the United States.
Budget 2026.
On to your top story for tonight. SJB parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva says that the government currently has sufficient funds enough to fill the national treasury as a result of its economic program. He admitted that his previous calculations regarding tax revenue had in fact been incorrect. Dr. Harsha De Silva made these remarks while opening the debate on the second reading of the 2026 budget on behalf of the opposition.
First of all, we must accept that overall the government has stabilized the macro economy. There is no need to deny good achievements. However, we do challenge the government on the next step, namely that it has not yet presented a program to achieve economic growth. Firstly, we appreciate the President's anti-corruption initiatives and we extend our full support to him in that regard. However, this cannot be a political witch hunt. The latest controversy is regarding the double cab vehicle scheme. Reportedly, 1,775 double cabs are to be procured in fewer days and tenders are being rushed to execute the program. However, according to the documented guidelines, tenders must be open for 42 days before closing. Yet, they were given only 12 days. In my opinion, Honorable Speaker, this tender should be suspended. We are not prepared to blindly accept the government's offer to give vehicles to the opposition. You used to laugh at us. You too truly didn't expect that such a large number of vehicles would be imported into Sri Lanka. Neither did we. That was a miscalculation from our end. Letters of credit close to 2 billion rupees has been opened. So unexpectedly, the government received a massive tax revenue. With tax revenue flowing in due to the IMF program, funds in the national treasury have reached massive highs. For the first time in history, the government, the treasury always had an OD. But this time, there is over 1 trillion rupees in the system, including funds in the People's Bank and Bank of Ceylon. Many had hopes that the 2026 budget would provide some tax relief, but that has not happened. What is the system change of the government? What is the difference? Honorable Speaker, I spoke to some educated youth who cast their vote for the JVP and NPP and asked them why they made that decision. About 5 points were cited by them. First, to have a job that allows them to live decently. Second, to start a small business. Third, to own a home. Fourth, to support their parents. And fifth, to start a family of their own. 10.2 billion rupees is being allocated. 70,000 houses needs to be built. Can a house be built using 1 million rupees?
You
have another 2 minutes.
There is no point in going about with decisions like changing the name of Suasaria. We have brought it to the international level. Yesterday I was told by the minister that no such change will be made. It's good if things are continued the way they are. You just fulfill the promises you made.
අපේ ආණ්ඩුවේ දෙවන අයවැය කියලා කියන්නේ ආචාර්ය හර්ෂ සිල්ලා මන්ත්‍රීතුමා සම්පූර්ණයෙන් අන්ත අසරණ කළ අයවැයක්.
The second budget of our government made Dr. Harsha De Silva completely helpless. Usually he guides the Samurdhi Janabalawege on economic matters. He was allocated 45 minutes. Maybe this is a conspiracy of some sort. But he was allowed 1 hour and was made completely helpless. I think from this point onwards, someone took steps to ensure that you will not be able to speak on economic matters. First investigate that. If we could, we would have given more time.
එතුමා වගේ කෙනෙක්වත් කරකෝල අතාරින්න පුළුවන් තරමට මේ අයවැය හැදුවා කියලා කියන්නේ මේ රට හොඳට මිදිලට යනවා කියන එක තමයි. කතාව පටන් ගත්තේ ඔබතුමා මේ ආණ්ඩුව විසින් ආර්ථිකය ස්ථාවර කරා.
If someone like Harsha De Silva was left speechless by this budget, that means the country is being run very well. You first start off your speech by acknowledging that the government has stabilized the economy. However, eventually further into the speech, the true views started to come out. The step-by-step policies we have implemented over the past year have created economic stability through disciplined measures, increasing dollar reserves to over 6 billion. Our expectation is to reach $7 billion soon. The debt to GDP ratio will be reduced from 114% to around 96 to 97% by 2026, which is achievable. For state institutions, including the Ministry of Health, we have requested the number of vehicles required, around 2,500 to 2,700 standard vehicles are now being allocated for use by the public service and provincial administrative institutions. A total of 12,500 rupees has been set aside to cover the lease installments for all these vehicles. There is no need for 150 vehicles for the ruling party alone. As the President has instructed, ministers and deputy ministers are expected to use official vehicles, not personal ones. Vehicles will only be provided to those who genuinely need them, including the clergy if required. This should not be misinterpreted or misrepresented.
මේක නිකන් වර්ධිත අර්ථකථනය කරන්න එපා.
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි ලංකාවේ පළවෙනි වතාවට සියලුම ආර්ථික නිර්ණායකයන්
For the first time in Sri Lanka, all economic indicators and requirements were met in 2025. This was not accidental. It was achieved by skilled management of the economy. With this discipline, we are on track to achieve 7% growth. The know-it-alls who agreed with the IMF for 3.5% are now saying they want 7%. Then they are saying that there needs to be 9% growth. Be patient, we will do that too. Without trust, no one will invest. The government has restored confidence, leading to the highest levels of foreign investments in Sri Lanka's history in 2025. We are on track to reach $5.9 billion. Now the opposition seems confused about whether there is a neoliberal or social democratic approach. They have not had the capacity to implement necessary economic measures, which is why the government had to act. Now they are trying to analyze and compare our policy statements and budget statements with theirs and trying to create discourse.
ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශය අයවැය ප්‍රකාශය කියලා හිතාගෙන එකින් එක සංසන්දනය කරන සිල්ලර සාකච්ඡාවකට ගිහින් තියෙනවා.
එතුමා ඇහුවා ලක්ෂ 10න් කොහොමද ගෙවල් හදන්නේ කියලා.
The opposition after the budget goes out of the chamber and gives the media voice cuts. MP Harsha asked how houses can be built with 1 million rupees. I invite him to come and see the Gampaha district. We have completed 218 houses there. We can give you a tour of all 218 houses if needed. You can see how they have been built. The opposition cannot understand a political movement like this. There is a presidential committee report, a commission report from Maithripala Sirisena's presidency. As I recall, 480 million rupees had been allocated just to establish plaques at these housing projects. So it is no surprise that such people cannot comprehend our plans.
ඒ වගේ අයට කන්ෆියුස් වෙන එක අහන්න දෙයක් නැහැ.
විපක්ෂයත් කියනවා භාණ්ඩාගාරය ඉතිරිලා ගිහිල්ලා කියලා.
The full expenditure for the 9-month budget will be available for us to review by the 31st of December. Looking at progress over the past 6 months, significant achievements have already been made. The opposition has also noted that the Treasury has accumulated substantial reserves. We are in a position to achieve a primary surplus of 2.3% and we have set ambitious targets to reach this. We are maintaining strict fiscal discipline and financial management. These results are not random. They are the outcome of strong leadership, commitment and vision. We have not promised to achieve everything in the first year. Only after 5 years will our full report card be available for review. At that point, we will present it not only in Parliament but also to the public during the election process. I am confident that in 5 years, the report card will reflect the government's achievements. If today we are able to show that the treasury is well funded and reserves have grown, that alone is a significant victory. If the opposition were to come into power, the finance minister would likely be someone with expertise and experience. I believe the difference will be clearly reflected in the key economic indicators. Even if we take the data purely from a statistical perspective, there is no doubt that we are on the right path. Therefore, there is no need to worry about this journey. Over the next 5 years, under the guidance of the minister, we will be able to assess our report card properly. This will give not only the government but also the people of the country an opportunity to evaluate our performance. I am confident that we will achieve top marks.
එතකොට ඔබට විතරක් නෙවෙයි මේ රටේ ජනතාවටත් ඒකට ලකුණු දෙන්න අවස්ථාවක් එනවා. මට නම් විශ්වාසයි අපි ඒක ඉහළින්ම පාස් වෙනවා කියන එක.
Ernst & Young Sri Lanka convened its annual post-budget discussion 2026 yesterday in Colombo. The event brought together senior government figures, policymakers and private sector leaders for crucial analysis of the key highlights and implications of the recently unveiled National Budget 2026. The implications and key features of the National Budget 2026 were the central focus of a critical discussion hosted yesterday in Colombo by Ernst & Young Sri Lanka, which united government figures, policymakers and private sector leaders.
The approach that we have adopted has instilled the confidence and to generate more revenue from the existing base, at the same time growing our revenue base also. As a result, as Echi mentioned during the budget speech as well, for the first time the borrowing limit was requested based on what we have tabled in the Parliament to reduce by about 60 billion plus or minus. That shows the fundamentals are very well established as of now, which is momentum in terms of collection through several approaches. One angle is digitization, another angle is zero tolerance for corruption, and it allows better integration, less leakages through the system, and allow everyone to take part in the journey. We noted on the screen as well the digital drive to be implemented in 3 phases. Phase 1, industries, businesses that were subjected to, or rather going through the SWAT repeal, is to be brought into the digital invoicing system. Very happy to say the testing are very successful and it will be deployed very soon. Phase 2 is for VAT registered businesses, and phase 3 it will be rolled out the full scale e-invoicing, including for everyone else to take part. I suppose if I were to approach the answer in this manner, if I were to encapsulate the entire budget into one word, that is the growth that we are going to create for the country. For the medium term, 7+% GDP is what we are aiming at. In order to do that, the key ingredient is the amounts that we allocate, the capital expenditure, is being spent in a manner that it will add on to the economic activities. When projects that are ready to implement is being started and funds are allocated, chances of the execution success in the execution side is also high. But digitization is brought into the project monitoring as well. So instead of relying in a lot of manual records, which is the current practice, we have already started the process. The system is being built in, being tested as of now. So we believe it will be ready and available for use from 1st Jan onwards. So combining digitization into this process, we are expecting better results as we move into 2026, and therefore we believe resources are allocated, processes are put in place to achieve the expected result.
In any society, the shape of the society determined by many factors. So contribution of different stakeholders, resources that you have, your cultures. So there are so many things, even the level of technology that you have achieved. Among them, it is a fact that the political sphere is very crucial. Number 2 is the quantitative and qualitative perspective. So when we talk about a budget, of course it deals with numbers. What comes first is numbers, whether these allocation are adequate enough. And so ST was just struggling with number, and maybe he spent almost more than 2 months to fix all those things. Numbers also matter. In this particular budget, sometime you may have debates, argument that numbers or the amounts allocated are adequate or whether they have been set aside for the right direction or not. But if you need to, I request you to look at beyond the numbers. The qualitative aspect of this particular, the budget really matters, because when we revive a country, especially revive a country from a kind of economic abyss, first, that stabilization has been achieved. To take off from that particular point onward, this qualitative aspect and the inclusivity really matter. So in most of the social, the welfare, the protection spending or social spending, some said, the previously the followed spending were also there. In addition, new things, sometimes the amount may be insignificant, but the qualitative aspect is very important. We have not excluded anyone. No one has been left behind. And looking at the budget, the entire budget is woven within 6 objectives. They are very critical. Number 1 is objective of attaining medium-term growth rate more than 7% within inclusive framework again, and moving towards sustainability. The other area is the external sector. In order to achieve some of our economic objectives, we need to have a significant portion from our external trade. The diversification in terms of the destination of the countries and the products, and new products as well. And the other area is debt sustainability. It is a given situation and we need to manage it. It is not that something we strategically plan for. Next one is the expansion of production economy. Sometimes there are like views of what's really meant by a production economy. To some extent, yes, it is a fact that we need to think of promoting a local production. So even in areas where we can just use them as import substitutions and other things. But it doesn't mean that the production economy does not aim to restrict importation. Importation would be all right, but we need to promote importation for investment and intermediary goods, and the production economy must be promoted. The other one is digitalization. These are the key 6 strategic objectives.
The discussion served as a vital forum for stakeholders to understand the policy underpinnings of the 2026 budget and align their strategies with the national economic direction. Plantation workers have expressed their appreciation for the government's decision to increase wages in this year's budget. Today, the plantation community celebrated by lighting crackers. The budget includes a proposal to raise the daily wage of plantation workers to 1,550 rupees starting from January. Additionally, the government plans to provide a 200 rupee allowance for them.
සාධාරණ විදිහට කිසිම වචනයක් නැතුව වතුකම් කරුවට සාධාරණයක් ඉෂ්ට කරලා දීලා තියෙනවා මේ අයවැයෙන්.
Case file. During Parliament today, Minister of Rural Development, Social Security and Community Empowerment, Dr. Upali Pannilage stated that the government incurred a loss of around 20 billion rupees due to a loan obtained against the Samurdhi fund during the COVID-19 pandemic. He pointed out that as a result of this transaction, funds amounting to approximately 1.6 million beneficiaries' allocations from the Samurdhi fund were misused.
මහා භාණ්ඩාගාරය විසින් සමුද්‍ර සංවර්ධන දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවේ ස්ථාවර තැන්පතු අපේට තබා ලංකා බැංකුවෙන් ලබාගෙන තියෙනවා.
The Treasury has secured a loan of 16 billion rupees from the Bank of Ceylon by using the fixed deposits of the Samurdhi Development Department as a security. The loans obtained from the People's Bank is 14 billion rupees. Additionally, the Treasury obtained 28,767 million rupees through the Samurdhi Department's microfinance unit. In total, these borrowings amount to approximately 58.76 billion rupees. While the loans from the Bank of Ceylon and the People's Bank were fully repaid in 2023, the interest on the funds obtained through the microfinance unit has not yet been paid. It is important to note that the microfinance unit of the Samurdhi Department manages the essential savings of the country's most vulnerable and low-income citizens. Based on preliminary calculations from 2020 to the present, the microfinance unit has incurred losses of approximately 20 billion rupees. Specifically, around 1.6 million beneficiaries' savings have been affected. As a result, a significant portion of the savings of the country's poor and low-income citizens who are entitled to financial assistance has been lost. Efforts are underway to recover these funds. However, when attempting to reclaim the money, the ministry has faced difficulties due to decisions made by the cabinet, which have complicated the recovery process.
අපිට මේ අය කර ගැනීමට දුෂ්කරතාවයකට පත් වෙලා තියෙන ගරු කතානායකතුමනි.
The war on drugs. For our children, for our tomorrow.
6 suspects were arrested with a stock of heroin in Thelawila, Sinigama. The arrest was made during a special operation conducted under the supervision of Inspector R.M.P. Jayakalum, OIC of the Organised Crime Prevention Unit of the Police Special Task Force.
The heroin recovered from during this investigation is revealed to weigh about 5 kilograms and 416 grams. In addition, according to further examinations, the suspect were also found in possession of 10,811,500 rupees. The special task force revealed that the suspects had brought the drug stock from the sea to land by boat, which after further inquiries were found and taken into police custody. The special task force confirmed that the suspects along with the heroin stock have been handed over to the Hikkadua police. A person who transported firearms for organised crime on various occasions under the instructions of Kehelbhadra Padmi and Thammita Avishka has been arrested in Gampaha. According to the police special task force, the suspect who was arrested in possession of 13 grams and 170 milligrams of the drug ice is also involved in running the drug network of the organised criminal and drug trafficker Thammita Avishka, who is currently overseas. 3 vehicles belonging to Sampath Manamperi, who is currently in custody, were seized by the Middenia police this morning. The operation was carried out by officers from the Colombo North Crimes Division. Police confirmed that a bus, a cab and a luxury car were taken into custody. The cab had reportedly been used to transport cannabis, while the bus was used for passenger transport between Middenia and Colombo. The seizure was based on information obtained from Sampath Manamperi. Manamperi, a former Pradeshya Sabha member of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, is being detained and questioned under a 90-day detention order in connection with investigations into a drug network operating in Middenia.
Meanwhile, a Sri Lankan multi-day fishing vessel has been seized in the Maldivian waters on suspicion of transporting drugs. Maldivian security forces carried out this operation. A group of fishermen on board have been taken into custody. Police say that a special team comprising police and Navy personnel has been dispatched to the Maldives to take further action. 4 suspects, including a woman, have been arrested in Colombo and Jaffna in connection with the recent fatal shooting in Kotahena. Meanwhile, the vehicle used by the suspects in the murder was found abandoned on Armour Street this afternoon. In addition, 2 other vehicles related to this incident have also been taken into police custody.
Date 7th of November 2025. Location 16th Lane, Kotahena. Time 8:30 p.m. a group of individuals who arrived in a black car had fired shots at the target and fled the scene. The person, who was seriously injured in the shooting, later succumbed to his injuries after being admitted to the National Hospital of Sri Lanka. The victim was a 43-year-old resident of Kotahena. According to police, he was a close associate of an organised crime gang member named Pukudukanna. In addition, the police suspect that the murder may have been carried out by a group of followers of an organised crime gang member, Palani Remushan, who is currently abroad. According to investigations, this was reportedly due to a dispute between the two parties over drug trafficking conducts. Currently, 7 suspects involved in the murder have been identified by authorities and 6 teams have already been formed to arrest them. Accordingly, 4 suspects, including a woman, were arrested this afternoon in Jaffna and Colombo. Meanwhile, the car used by the suspects for the shooting was found abandoned in Armour Street and was recovered this afternoon. In addition, 2 other vehicles have also been taken into police custody in connection with this incident. Meanwhile, Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs, Attorney-at-Law Sunil Watagala, emphasised that the rule of law and the independence of investigation teams will be strictly protected in the fight against drug trafficking and crime.
Now politics is intervened in Lasa's murder. A challenge was made to this parliament to catch the shooter within 3 days if possible. After the challenge, the Public Security Minister accepted it and arrested the shooter in 2.5 days. You wanted us to fail like India Radhapura example. We have set an example that even if one of us commits a mistake, we will not interfere with the police. Now we all uphold the rule of law. The reason for that is that we have made the institutions independent, and now the law has been implemented clearly within these independent institutions. We won't interfere with these institutions, even if the house of that MP was searched, whereas during your time, searching MPs' houses was never allowed. You became the leader of those who formed coalition governments, didn't you?
Meanwhile, the Department of Inland Revenue has decided to establish special tax service centres across the country. This initiative aims to raise public awareness about tax payments and minimise instances of tax evasion. Senior Tax Commissioner M.A. Priyanka stated that the planned project to set up these service centres has already been launched. Now there is one spot you must not miss when visiting the scenic Arugambe beach, and that is the Crocodile Rock. Today on our segment Beautiful Sri Lanka, we will be taking you there.
Just a 30-minute drive from Arugambe, nestled between serene lagoons and lush paddy fields, lies one of Sri Lanka's most enchanting natural landmarks, Crocodile Rock, locally known as Kimbulagala, named for its striking resemblance to a resting crocodile. This rock formation has become a favorite among nature lovers, photographers and adventure seekers. The surrounding landscape, a blend of coastal beauty, wetlands and agricultural charm, amplifies the magic of the location, offering a panoramic view that's both tranquil and wild. Located near a sensitive ecological zone, Crocodile Rock is also a haven for wildlife enthusiasts, with frequent sightings of exotic birds, elephants and other animals that roam freely in the area.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.
Gammadda, a movement dedicated to the people by the people, today launched yet another project, providing a source of relief and support to local children and villagers. So many corners of Sri Lanka remain out of the eye of authorities, and the Diggalpura village in Polonnaruwa is one such area where the lack of safe water has had severe health consequences. Today was also memorable for around 200 school children of the Diggalpura Primary School who now benefit directly from this new facility. For them, the only request they had ever made was simple: access to clean drinking water. Gammadda stepped in to fulfill that request. For the entire village and the school, the project fulfills a long-standing request submitted to Gammadda for access to clean water, as the foundation stone for the new clean drinking water project was laid today, presided over by Gammadda leader Shaban Daniel. The project was generously funded by Mrs. Mantri Amarasinghe of Boralla in memory of her late daughter and husband. Technical assistance is being provided by the Sri Lanka Navy. The event was attended by numerous government officials, villagers, the principal of the primary school and members of the Gammadda team. Venerable Kusum Pokune Jinananda Thero highlighted the importance of this project.
In this region, even if 10 people die, 7 or 8 of them are usually kidney patients. The lack of clean water has caused the majority of deaths here. I estimate over 75% of these deaths are due to unsafe water. Gammadda carefully selected the most suitable location for this water system after thorough consideration.
The celebration was further enhanced by the students' performances.
මගේ නංගිලා මල්ලිලා මගේ යාළුවෝ හැමෝම ඉගෙනුම් කටයුතු වලට වගේම බාහිර ක්‍රීඩා වලටද දක්ෂයි. අපේ පාසල නිමවු විට අපි බාහිර ක්‍රීඩා කරනවා. ඒ නිසා අපිට බොහෝ වතුර අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා. අපිට වතුර තිබුණා. ඒත් අපිට තියෙන්නේ අපිරිසිදු වතුර.
ඉතින් අද අපිට ගම්මැද්ද ව්‍යාකෘතියෙන් නැන්දලා මාමලා ඇවිල්ලා අපේ අපහසුතාවයෙන් මිදීමට අපිට ගොඩක් කටයුතු කරනවා. ඉතින් මට ඒකට අඩ ගොඩක් සතුටුයි. ඉතින් ඒ නැන්දලා මාමලා හැමෝටම ගොඩක් ස්තුතියි.
Gammadda's goal is to address the long-standing water scarcity in the Diggalpura village. From now on, both school children and villagers will have access to safe, clean drinking water, and the smiles on their faces today will be remembered for years to come.
Newsfirst with the people.
Sri Lanka's renowned wildlife artist Gamini Ratnavira has unveiled his latest art collection, Brushes with Nature, which beautifully captures Sri Lanka's birds and mammals. Sri Lankan wildlife art returned to the spotlight this week at the Harold Pierce Gallery, Lionel Wendt Art Centre, with Brushes with Nature, an exhibition by Gamini Ratnavira, one of the country's most celebrated wildlife artists. Running from the 7th to the 9th of November, the show highlights Ratnavira's remarkable 5-decade career, shaped by early experiences living among animals and raising a baby elephant. A self-taught artist, he gained national recognition in 1979 when President J.R. Jayawardena appointed him Chief Advisor on Wildlife and Conservation. He also designed the Department of Wildlife's official logo, still in use today. Ratnavira's work spans collaborations with global institutions such as the World Wildlife Fund, the Smithsonian and Sri Lanka's Natural History Museum, along with 38 postage stamps, including the country's first marine conservation series. He has also illustrated landmark publications such as Birds of Sri Lanka and Mammals of Sri Lanka. Currently, he is working on a revised edition of Birds of Sri Lanka for the Field Ornithology Group's 50th anniversary. Brushes with Nature is a celebration of a lifetime, capturing the harmony between humans and the natural world, reflecting Sri Lanka's enduring bond with its wildlife. Today marks 10 years since the passing of Venerable Dr. Maduluave Sobitha, the esteemed chief incumbent of the Kote Sri Naga Vihara. He dedicated his life to the pursuit of a just and fair society, and he wished for a community free from fraud, corruption, crime and injustice. This segment reflects on the legacy that he leaves behind.
Born on the 20th of May 1942 in the village of Maduluava Paduka, P.D. Ratnasekara renounced worldly life at the age of 13 to dedicate himself to the teachings of Lord Buddha. He received his higher education at Vidyalankara Pirivana and the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura and became widely recognized both locally and internationally as Venerable Maduluave Sobitha Thera. From 1955, he resided at the Kote Sri Naga Vihara, dedicating himself to the welfare of the people. He tirelessly preserved and nurtured the Sinhala Buddhist heritage, spreading its teachings both within Sri Lanka and abroad, serving as a spiritual leader to countless communities. His exemplary life, devoted to the well-being of the people, inspired trust, faith and goodwill across the nation. Venerable Sobitha Thera consistently demonstrated practical leadership for national harmony, promoting social transformation and justice through his teachings and actions. In 1982, he took a leading role in initiatives under the Sinhala Balamandala, guiding efforts in national movements, cultural preservation and educational enterprises. He championed the cause of a just society, striving to overcome corruption, crime and injustice, and worked relentlessly for the establishment of good governance. His unwavering vision was centered on social equity and unity.
රටේ නීතිය එහෙම් පිටින්ම කෙලෙසලා තියෙන්නේ. කොහොම නිදහස්? ලියන්න බෑ. කතා කරන්න බෑ. ගිනි දවාලේ සිරසට ගැහුවා. දඩුවක් නැහැ. අල්ලපු කෙනෙක් නැහැ. කුඩු ව්‍යාපාරයන්නේ ඒ බලවතුන්ගේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට මන්ත්‍රීකම් පර්මිට් එකක්. ඒ පර්මිට් එක ගත්තා VIP නේ. ඉතින් මේ ලංකාව කුඩු මධ්‍යස්ථානයක් වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපේ කොල්ලෝ ටික ඉවරයි. සූදුවයි සුරාවයි. ස්ත්‍රී දූෂණයයි. ඔක්කොම එකතු වුණාන් පස්සේ අපේ රට ඉවරයි. අන්න ඒ නිසා සෑම දෙනාම ආගම්, ජාති, පක්ෂ, බේදවලින් තොරව අපි සාධාරණ සමාජයක් වෙනුවෙන් කරන මේ මහා ජනතා අරගලයට සියල්ලෝම එකතු වෙලා හඬනගමු. අපට මේ සාධාරණ සමාජය ඕන. බියක් සැකක් නැතුව ජීවත් වෙන්න.
Through his lifelong struggle, free from religious or ethnic divisions, Venerable Maduluave Sobitha Thera laid the foundations for a new era in Sri Lanka, earning a place in the hearts of the people as a great spiritual leader who shaped a generation.
North Korea's defense minister warned that Pyongyang will take more offensive action in response to the USS George Washington aircraft carrier visiting South Korea and the ongoing US-Korea joint drills. The warning came shortly after the carrier's arrival and the commencement of the joint drills.
North Korea's defense minister threatened today to take more offensive action as he condemned US security talks with Seoul and the arrival of a US aircraft carrier in South Korea. A day earlier, North Korea fired a ballistic missile towards the sea off its east coast after denouncing on Thursday fresh US sanctions against North Korean individuals and entities that Washington said were involved in cyber-related money laundering schemes. The US military has also said today that it was consulting closely with allies and partners following North Korea's latest ballistic missile launch. US Indo-Pacific Command in a statement said, quote, "While we have assessed that this event does not pose an immediate threat to US personnel or territory or to our allies, the missile launch highlights the destabilizing impact." End quote. Meanwhile, China has officially commissioned its most sophisticated aircraft carrier, the Fujian. The significant event took place just days after a grand ceremony presided over by Chinese President Xi Jinping. The Fujian represents a major advancement in China's naval technology, being the third aircraft carrier to join the fleet. It is notably equipped with electromagnetic catapult catapults, a system that enables aircraft to be launched at higher speeds compared to traditional systems. This technological leap positions China alongside the United States, the only other nation currently employing this type of launch mechanism on its aircraft carriers. With this latest addition, China consolidates its position as the country with the largest navy in the world by ship count. The aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford, built by the US Navy as the most capable, adaptable and lethal combat platform in the world, has been sent to the Caribbean as the Trump administration ramps up military pressure on Venezuela over alleged drug trafficking. With a displacement of more than 100,000 tons and a length of 1,100 feet, the Ford is the largest warship the US has ever pulled to sea. It replaced traditional steam catapults, allowing smoother and more reliable launches with less wear on airframes.
Now, in a major escalation of diplomatic tensions, Turkiye has issued arrest warrants for Israel's top leadership, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, over alleged genocide in Gaza. Turkiye says it has issued arrest warrants for genocide against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other senior Israeli officials. According to a Friday statement from the Istanbul prosecutor's office, which did not publish the complete list, among the 37 suspects are Israel's defense minister, national security minister and army chief lieutenant general. Turkiye has accused the officials of quote-unquote genocide and crimes against humanity that Israel has quote-unquote perpetrated systematically in its war on Gaza since October 2023. The statement said that the October 17, 2023 attack on the Al-Ali Baptist Hospital claimed 500 lives. On the 29th of February 2024, Israeli soldiers deliberately destroyed medical equipment. Gaza was placed under blockade and victims were denied access to humanitarian aid. The statement also referred to the Turkish-Palestinian Friendship Hospital built by Turkiye in the Gaza Strip and bombed by Israel in March. Turkiye's announcement comes almost 1 year after the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Netanyahu and his former defense minister for alleged war crimes. Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 68,875 Palestinians and wounded 170,679 since October 2023. Nobel Prize-winning American scientist James Watson, one of the co-discoverers of the structure of DNA, has died aged 97. In one of the greatest breakthroughs of the 20th century, he identified the double helix structure of DNA in 1953, alongside British scientist Francis Crick, setting the stage for rapid advances in molecular biology. Nobel Prize-winning American scientist James Watson, one of the co-discoverers of the structure of DNA, has died aged 97. His death was confirmed by Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, where he worked and researched for decades. He shared the Nobel in 1962 with Maurice Wilkins and Francis Crick for the DNA's double helix structure discovery. The Sri Lankan cricket team departed the island this morning to take part in a T20 Tri-Nation series featuring Pakistan and Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka's upcoming one-day international series against Pakistan.
Both tournaments are scheduled to be held in Pakistan. During the tour, the Sri Lankan team is set to play 3 one-day internationals against Pakistan. The T20 Tri-Nation series will feature Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Zimbabwe and is scheduled to begin on the 11th of November.
It's going to be a challenging series. We've performed well in recent one-day matches and winning in a country like Pakistan would be a big boost to our confidence. We hope to win the series. There aren't many changes to the squad. It's quite balanced. We focus on giving our best as a team and performing to our fullest potential.
Dr. Saman Ranjit Veerasinghe, who was awarded the Order of Friendship by the Russian Federation, arrived in the country today. He is notably the only individual from the Asian region to receive this prestigious award this year. Today's edition of Happy Headlines is on this remarkable achievement.
Dr. Saman Ranjit Veerasinghe, recipient of the Russian Federation's Order of Friendship, arrived in the country this morning from the Bandar Naik International Airport in Kotahena. He was presented with the Order of Friendship recently by Russian President Vladimir Putin himself. The Russian Order of Friendship is the highest honor conferred by Russia on a civilian. This award marks a significant milestone in Sri Lanka's global diplomatic engagement, and in 2025, Dr. Saman Veerasinghe is the only individual from the Asian region to receive it. Dr. Veerasinghe was honored for his decades-long efforts to strengthen diplomatic, cultural and economic relations between Sri Lanka and Russia. He currently serves as the Secretary of the Sri Lanka-Russia Friendship Association and as the President of the Russian Geographical Society in Colombo.
This
award being conferred from Asia to me personally is a great honor for our country. I regard this not merely as a recognition for myself but as a tribute to Sri Lanka. It acknowledges the efforts to enhance relations between our two countries, strengthening economic, cultural and human connections, and promoting friendship. Receiving an award of this nature from a country like Russia is significant for Sri Lanka because it ensures that in times of global challenges, we have a partner who can support us directly. I see this as a tremendous honor for our nation beyond just my personal recognition.
Well, that's a wrap of your news for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Good night.